What kind of company are we running if I have to find out what's wrong from Yelp reviews? Xavier Tolan slammed his laptop shut, the screen still glowing in the dim light of his office. 8 stores, a team of over 60 employees, and yet he felt further from the truth than ever. The reviews weren't about the food anymore, they were about the people. One location in particular, Store 4, had gone from 5 stars to barely 3. Slow service, rude staff, deliveries taking forever. One review mentioned a driver who left a customer's food on the porch and peeled off before they could even open the door. Xavier wasn't a boardroom kind of boss. He built this business out of a food truck 10 years ago, driving late nights and handing out free meals when he had nothing else to give. Now, with 8 full locations across the state, he still remembered every brick, every fight to stay open. But he hadn't set foot in Store 4 in over a year. "I'm going in," he muttered. His assistant looked up from her phone, brows raised. "As yourself?" "No, as a trainee delivery driver. No one there's met me. I've only met the district manager in person. Store 4's had a full staff turnover since last year." He planned it tight. Got a fresh haircut, wore glasses he didn't need, and put on a cheap windbreaker and work boots. Used a fake name, Kyle. His assistant made sure he was processed into the system like any regular temp hire. No one questioned it. Just another guy trying to make a buck delivering food. The moment he walked into Store 4, the air felt off. No one greeted him. A girl behind the counter looked up, pointed toward the back, and went back to watching something on her phone. The manager, a wiry guy named Trent, barely glanced up when Xavier introduced himself. "New driver, huh? Cool, grab a shirt from that bin. Hope you know how to use the app." "I do," Xavier said. "Good, don't expect anyone to babysit you. You mess up, that's on you." Xavier clenched his jaw. "Got it." He watched the kitchen for a few minutes. Orders piled up on the screen. One of the cooks, a tired woman with thin arms and sunken eyes, moved with quiet urgency. The others worked slow, talking, laughing, ignoring the screen. The first order came in for him: 2 pizzas and wings, 15 minutes away. He grabbed the bags and hit the road. His second delivery was where things shifted. He was pulling out of a driveway in a quiet neighborhood when he saw someone waving him down from the corner. An older man, maybe in his 70s, leaning heavily on a cane. The man looked panicked, pointing toward the sidewalk. Xavier rolled his window down. "You okay?" "I dropped my bag, my groceries. I can't reach." The man's hand trembled as he pointed to a cloth bag that had rolled into the grass. Xavier pulled over, hopped out, and jogged over. "You don't have to, it's fine," Xavier said. "Here," he lifted the bag, handed it over carefully. 3 cans and a carton of eggs inside. "Anything else?" The man looked embarrassed. I fell last month, hard to bend down." "Thank you, son." "No problem." As he turned to head back to his car, he noticed another delivery driver watching from their car, parked across the street. He didn't think much of it until he got back to Store 4. Trent was waiting near the back door, arms crossed. "You take a wrong turn or something?" "Sorry, I track all our drivers. You were parked for 6 minutes on a 2-minute delivery." There was someone who needed help. An old man dropped his groceries. Trent scoffed. "We're not a charity." "You stop to help every person you see. You won't last a week here." Xavier blinked. "I didn't think being a decent person was against the rules." Trent stepped closer. "You're new, so I'll say this once. We deliver food fast, got it?" Xavier stared at him, anger rising in his chest. But he nodded. "Got it." He finished his shift quietly, watching everything. One driver took a full hour for a 20-minute route. Another reused delivery bags without checking if they were clean. Customers waited inside for pickup orders that sat under heat lamps for over 10 minutes. But then there was one driver, tall, athletic build, maybe in his late 20s. His name tag said Derek. He was polite, fast, and cleaned his own bags after every run. At one point, Xavier saw him help a mom carry her toddler's stroller out the door while still holding 2 delivery bags in his other hand. No one praised him. No one even noticed. That night, Xavier couldn't sleep. The employees weren't the problem. It was the leadership. And he was going to fix it. By the 3rd day, Xavier had seen enough to understand what was broken, but he still didn't know how deep the rot went. He arrived just before opening. The back door was propped open with a crushed milk crate. Inside, the floor was sticky. The trash hadn't been taken out the night before. Trent was nowhere in sight. A young prep cooker named Tag-Reed Valerie was slicing onions at the far counter. She didn't look up when Xavier entered. Her eyes were red, and her hands moved slower than the rhythm of the kitchen demanded. "Morning," Xavier said, stepping in. She nodded faintly. "He's late again." "Trent," she gave a tired shrug. "Usually rolls in after the lunch rush starts, doesn't really do mornings." Xavier checked the kitchen clock. It was already 8:15. They were scheduled to open at 8:30. Two more employees filtered in over the next 10 minutes, a dishwasher and a line cook, both moving like they'd rather be anywhere else. Then Derek came in. Same alert posture, same quiet focus. He greeted each person with a nod or a quiet "hey." When he passed Valerie, he paused. "You doing okay?" he asked gently. She didn't respond right away, then didn't sleep much. He didn't press her, just tightened his apron and started wiping down the counter. A few seconds later, he glanced over at Xavier. "You're the new guy, right?" "Yeah." "Kyle," Derek offered a quick handshake. "Derek, I've seen you out on runs," Xavier said. "Yeah, I take most of the east side orders. Nobody else wants them, too much traffic." "You do double the stops." Derek gave a short shrug. "They tip better." Xavier wanted to ask more, but the front door chimed. A customer thinking they were open. Valerie looked around. "No one up front." "I got it," Derek said, already moving. He greeted the customer, explained they weren't open for another 5 minutes, but offered to take their order anyway and have it ready as soon as possible. Once the customer left, Valerie leaned closer to Xavier. "He shouldn't be doing all that. He wants to." "Yeah, but he doesn't get paid any more than we do, and Trent treats him like garbage." Xavier kept his voice low. "What do you mean?" Last week he asked for Sunday off, first time in 3 months. Trent told him if he wanted time off, he could find another job. Did he take the day? No, came in anyway. Xavier felt something settle in his chest. Not anger, it was past that, something colder, a kind of calculation. At 9:30, Trent finally arrived. Sunglasses on, coffee in hand, no apology. He stepped into the kitchen, glanced at the prep station, and frowned. "Where's the damn cheese blend?" Valerie looked up. "We ran out last night." "I put it in the reorder sheet." "Then why the hell didn't it get delivered?" "You have to approve the sheet," she said quietly. Trent scoffed. "You always got some excuse." He walked past Xavier without a word, dropped his coffee on the counter, and scrolled through his phone. Xavier turned to Valerie. "He always like this." She didn't answer, just kept chopping. By noon, the kitchen was chaos. Orders came in faster than they could be filled. The printer jammed twice. The delivery tablet glitched. One of the drivers, a lanky kid named Sean, declared he was skipping his third run because it's too damn hot, and disappeared into the alley with a vape pen. No one stopped him. At 1:30, Xavier was returning from a delivery when he saw Derek hunched over in the back hallway, holding his wrist. "You all right?" Derek looked up, jaw tight. "Slipped carrying a box, caught myself weird." Xavier motioned toward the bench by the lockers. "Sit for a minute." "I don't have time, you do now." Derek hesitated, then sat. He flexed his fingers, trying to rotate his wrist. His knuckles were scraped raw. "You need ice. I'll grab some after my next run." Xavier stood silent for a beat. "You always like this. You push through everything." Derek looked at him. "If I don't show up, no one does. If I slow down, people wait longer, and I've got rent due." Xavier didn't say anything, just nodded once, then walked to the front. Trent was at the host counter, half watching a video on his phone. "We've got an injury in the back," Xavier said. Trent didn't look up. "Tell him to walk it off. He might have sprained his wrist. He's got another run in 10. If he can't do it, someone else will. No one else is here. Then it waits." Xavier stared at him. "You're seriously okay watching your best driver get hurt and not doing anything?" Trent looked up, annoyed now. "You've been here, what, 3 days? You don't know how we run things." "I know exactly how you run things." Trent squinted. "What's your problem?" Xavier leaned in. There was a pause. Then Trent laughed. "You think I'm scared of you? You're a temp." "Not exactly." Before Trent could respond, Xavier turned and walked back to the prep area. He found Valerie and Derek both there. "Hey," he said. "Come with me for a second." They followed him to the back office. Xavier pulled out his phone, tapped a few times, then looked up. "My name's not Kyle." They both stared at him. My name is Xavier Tolan. I own this company. Valerie's hand went to her mouth. Derek stood frozen. I've been watching, not just this week. I've been collecting reports, data, feedback from customers, but nothing beats seeing it myself. Valerie took a step back. I didn't know. You don't have to explain anything, he said. You've done more work than anyone should be expected to. And you've done it without support. He turned to Derek. You carried this store on your back. I watched you help people no one else even notices. You don't just deliver food. You show people what this company is supposed to stand for. Derek said nothing, just blinked a few times. Xavier pulled something from his jacket pocket, a folded envelope. This is for you, he said, handing it to Derek. Inside is a $5,000 bonus. Effective Monday, you're being promoted to lead trainer for all delivery operations. You'll set the standard. I want every new hire learning from you. Derek opened his mouth, but no words came out. Xavier turned to Valerie. And your shift ends at 6, right? She nodded slowly. Stay after. We'll talk. You've got ideas, I can tell. I want to hear them. She nodded again, this time with more certainty. Then Xavier walked back to the front. Trent was still by the counter, now talking to Sean, who had returned from his alley break. Xavier didn't break stride. You're done, he said. Trent turned. Excuse me? You're done. Turn in your keys. You're no longer employed here. Trent's mouth opened, then closed. You've endangered employees, ignored injury, abused your authority, and neglected basic operations. I don't need a meeting. I've seen enough. Trent looked around, like waiting for someone to intervene. No one did. Xavier pointed to the office. You've got 5 minutes to get your things. Sean took a step back, mumbling something about needing to take a call. Xavier turned to the rest of the staff. We're closing for the rest of the day. Everyone clock out, full pay. We'll reopen tomorrow with a new plan. The room was silent for a moment, then Derek stepped forward. Thank you. Xavier looked him in the eyes. No, thank you. He knew the work wasn't over, not by a long shot, but now it could begin for real. The next morning, Store 4 opened 2 hours later than usual. Xavier stood in the back kitchen, sleeves rolled up, clipboard in hand. No cameras, no press, just him, 8 employees, and a reset button. The silence was heavier than the usual morning bustle. No music, no idle chatter. Just the sound of prep knives tapping against cutting boards and the occasional drawer opening. The team wasn't sure what to expect. They'd never seen an owner show up with plastic gloves and a mop bucket. Xavier met eyes with no one at first. He didn't want to lead with authority. He wanted to lead with presence. I'm not here to lecture, he said finally. We've got a lot to fix, and I'm not going to pretend it'll be fast or easy, but I'm going to be here, every day, until this store runs the way it's supposed to. Valerie glanced up from her prep station but said nothing. Xavier continued, I've appointed Derek as our delivery operations lead. He'll still run orders, but he's also going to start training. That starts today. Anyone who wants extra hours helping him will get overtime. There was a pause, then a few nods. He looked around. We've got a staffing gap. I know that. I've already posted for 2 new hires. In the meantime, I'll be picking up slack where I can. And if anyone's burnt out, I want to know sooner, not later. You're not machines. Derek stepped forward, clearing his throat. We'll be running test routes this afternoon. I'll show you how I organize, how I map, how I prep my bags. If you're interested, meet me in the alley at 2. That got some attention. Xavier turned to the front counter, where the girl who'd ignored him on his first day now stood stiff-backed. What's your name, Kayla? You ever been trained on how to handle rush hour alone? No, Trent just told me to figure it out. Starting today, we rotate coverage. You're not alone up front again. She looked surprised, then nodded once and returned to wiping down the counter. This time with more purpose. By 11, the doors reopened. The first wave of customers trickled in slowly but steadily. Xavier stayed out of sight, restocking napkins, refilling sauce bins, quietly observing how the team moved around each other. The tension hadn't lifted, but it had shifted, no longer fear of failure, but uncertainty about change. At 2, Xavier followed Derek outside into the alley. 3 employees showed up. Sean, the delivery kid who disappeared mid-shift the day before, along with a quiet older woman named Rosa and a new trainee named Malik. Xavier stood back, arms crossed. Derek pulled out his phone. All right. First thing, this isn't just about speed, it's about prep. You can't fix delays on the road if you don't pack right. I color code my bags based on temperature. Red for hot, blue for cold. Delivery app doesn't tell you which bags to use. You have to think ahead. Sean leaned against the wall, arms folded. Yeah, but if it's just one order, does it even matter? You tell me, Derek said. You ever get a call from someone whose milkshake melted into their pizza box? Sean didn't respond. No one complains when it's perfect, Derek said. But the moment something's off, it's your name on the receipt. Roser raised her hand slightly. What if we get 2 pickups with opposite directions? Stack them based on time, not distance, Derek said. The app will always default to closest. But if the second order has a shorter ready time, you do the farther one first, less time sitting in your bag. Xavier watched each response. Derek didn't talk to fill space. He spoke when it mattered and only after thinking. The way Sean tried to cut corners. It wasn't laziness, it was learned behavior. And it was about to get unlearned. Halfway through the session, Xavier stepped inside to check on the kitchen. Valerie was at the grill, moving with surprising speed. Kayla was helping her plate. Malik's absence hadn't slowed the line, if anything. It seemed to be flowing smoother. Xavier approached the counter. You're running 3 stations right now. Valerie didn't pause. Just 2. Kayla's been taking orders and finishing sides. Kayla glanced up, then looked back down. Xavier leaned closer. What's changed? Valerie flipped a patty, then finally answered. You're here. He didn't expect that. I'm not doing much. You're watching, she said. That's more than anyone's done in months. Before he could respond, the front door opened, and in walked a woman in a navy business suit, heels tapping sharply across the tile. She headed straight for the counter and placed a small takeout box on it. This was cold, she said. Xavier stepped forward. What item? Mac and cheese. Picked it up 20 minutes ago, barely warm. He opened the box, still sealed. The steam had already disappeared. He turned to the line. Who packed this? Kayla hesitated. I did. Xavier turned back to the woman. We'll remake it immediately, on the house, and I'll bring it out myself. She blinked, taken aback, but nodded. Xavier handed the box off. We've got a new hot hold system coming in next week, he told Kayla quietly. Until then, double-check every item. If there's doubts, swap it. She nodded without looking up. 10 minutes later, the customer left with a fresh container and a quiet thank you. Xavier walked out with her and held the door. On his way back, he spotted Sean loitering near the alley again, scrolling on his phone. You done training? Sean didn't look up. Yeah, Derek said we were good. Did he? Sean finally looked up, expression unreadable. Let's talk inside, Xavier said. Back in the office, Xavier closed the door behind them. I've watched your routes, he said. You take extended breaks, skip deliveries, and yesterday you left mid-shift without checking in. You understand that, right? Sean shrugged. It's not like anyone cared before. I do, and I've got 0 tolerance for that. Sean's posture shifted. You're really firing me. You're not showing up for the job you were hired to do. You don't respect the team or the customers. That's not negotiable, Sean scoffed. Whatever, man, it's just fast food. No, Xavier said, voice firm. It's someone's lunch, a parent's only break. A nurse's last meal before a 12-hour shift. If that doesn't matter to you, this isn't the place for you. Sean didn't argue. He grabbed his backpack and walked out. Xavier returned to the floor. Malik was back, helping Kayla with packaging. Rosa was organizing delivery bags in the back corner, labeling them with tags Derek had handed out. At closing, Xavier pulled Valerie aside. You've handled more than most people would have. She wiped her forehead with her sleeve. I just want to make it through the week. You ever think about managing? She blinked. That a joke? No, you show leadership. People follow your pace, they watch you. She hesitated. I never finished college. I didn't either, Xavier said, but I built this company from a truck. What matters is how you carry people, and you carry them well. He slid a card across the counter. I want you to work with me directly starting next week. We'll build a plan, training, pay bump, development path. She stared at the card, then folded it and tucked it into her pocket without a word. That night, as the store emptied out and the lights dimmed, Xavier stood by the front windows, watching the streetlights flicker on outside. Derek walked up beside him. Think it'll stick? It's not about sticking, Xavier said. It's about showing up even when it's hard. Derek nodded. I'll be here early tomorrow. So will I. There was nothing flashy about the moment, no applause, no dramatic music, just commitment. And that was enough to start with. By the following week, the shift in Store 4 wasn't dramatic, but it was deliberate. The broken rhythm had started to find a pulse. Xavier arrived just before sunrise, unlocking the back door himself. Valerie was already there, unpacking a produce order. She didn't say anything at first, just nodded once, and that was enough. She'd accepted the new role, quietly, steadily. Inside, the kitchen lights flickered on, and Xavier walked through the space like someone rebuilding a house he used to live in. Not inspecting, participating. He pulled on gloves, took inventory, and waited for the team to trickle in. By 7, Derek arrived with a clipboard tucked under one arm and a coffee he'd brought for Valerie. He placed it on the prep table without comment. She gave a faint glance, then went back to slicing. Xavier walked over. "You've got your first 2 trainees today. One from another store, one new hire. You ready? I've got a route planned with 3 drop-offs and a timed map. If they can't handle it, I'll know by the second stop." "Don't hold back," Xavier said, "but don't burn them out either. They'll ride with me first." Then they run the second leg solo. No shortcuts. Xavier nodded. "Exactly what I hoped you'd say." At 10:30, the first trainee arrived, a transfer from Store 2 named Bryce. He was older, maybe mid-30s, with a stiff, formal posture and a uniform that still had the wrong store badge. The second was a girl named Talia, barely 20, with nervous eyes and a driver's bag that still had the tags on it. Derek didn't waste time. "You're both riding with me. No phones out unless it's for the app. Nothing goes in the car until you've triple-checked the order. If you skip a house by accident, you go back. No excuses." Bryce raised an eyebrow. "I've been doing this longer than you think." "Then you'll pick it up fast," Derek said. "Let's go." They were out the door before Xavier turned back to the front counter, where Kayla was helping a walk-in customer. Xavier waited until the customer left before approaching her. "You've been consistent," he said. "I've noticed." She tucked a receipt into the drawer and kept her eyes forward. "I'm just doing what I was supposed to be doing all along." "You've picked up more than that," he said. "You've been organizing the pickup shelves, adjusting the screen timing. That's initiative." She hesitated. "No one told me not to. Sometimes what you do without being told says more than what you do when asked." She finally looked up. "I just didn't want to be invisible anymore." "You're not," he said. "I've got a meeting next week with the operations director. I want your input on how we handle front-of-house training. You've seen what works and what doesn't." She blinked but didn't answer. He didn't push her, just walked back to the kitchen. Valerie was by the fryer now, balancing 2 baskets while calling out prep times to the line cook. "New fryers coming Monday," Xavier said. "Finally, custom spec. Better recovery time, more consistent oil levels." Valerie tapped the side of the old machine. "I won't miss this one. You'll be overseeing maintenance now. That includes reporting any equipment issues first." She paused, then looked at him. "You're putting store repairs in my hands. You've earned it. You've already been catching things before anyone else." She nodded once, then turned back to the fryer. That was all she needed. By noon, the lunch rush hit. Orders piled up fast, no chaos, just pressure. Malik was on the sandwich line, hands steady, moving quicker than the week before. He didn't talk much, but he matched the pace. Rosa handled the delivery bags with quiet precision. By 1:30, Derek returned with both trainees. Talia looked flushed but focused. Bryce looked annoyed. Xavier met them by the back exit. "How'd it go?" Derek spoke first. Talia made one mistake. She forgot to check the receipt against the app, but she caught it before we left the parking lot. She learned fast. And Bryce, he argued with the GPS, ignored the bag order and left the car running while he walked the food to the door. Bryce stepped forward, arms crossed. "I've been a driver for 3 years. I don't need someone half my age babysitting me." "You left a car running with food inside while you walked away from it," Xavier said. "That's not experience, that's negligence." "I've never had a complaint," Bryce said. "Not being caught isn't the same as doing it right," Xavier replied. Bryce scoffed. "You're really going to take his word over mine?" "No," Xavier said. "I'm taking the data, the GPS logs, and the fact that you just admitted to violating company policy." Bryce's jaw set. "So what now?" You're not returning to store 2, Xavier said. You're not staying here either. You're done. Turn in your badge. Bryce looked like he might say more, but instead he yanked the badge off his shirt, dropped it on the counter, and walked out without a word. Derek didn't gloat. He just turned to Talia. You're running this next one on your own. I'll follow in my car. Don't race me, just do it right. She nodded, more confident than she had been an hour earlier. That afternoon, Xavier met with the district manager for the first time since going undercover. They sat in the office behind a closed door. The turnover rate in this store was the highest in the region, Xavier said. And now I know why. The manager, a woman named Dana, didn't interrupt. Every report you filed downplayed the problems. You labeled Trent as reliable. You never flagged delivery delays or missed health inspections. You either didn't know or didn't care. Dana sat straighter. I went off what he sent me. You didn't follow up. You didn't visit. That's negligence. She shifted. I had 7 stores to supervise, and that's why we're restructuring. Starting next quarter, every district manager will be capped at 4 stores. You're being reassigned and placed under internal review. She opened her mouth. No negotiation, Xavier said. You had one job, you didn't do it. By end of day, the store was clean, stocked, and closed on time. Malik volunteered to wipe down the prep counters without being asked. Rosa stayed an extra 15 minutes to help Talia organize her delivery kit. Derek gathered the remaining team in the back and reviewed route patterns for the weekend. Xavier waited until the store was empty. He stood outside by his car, the street quiet, the sky starting to darken. Derek stepped out, keys in one hand. Long day, he said. They all are, Xavier replied. Derek looked at the building. You think this sticks? It's already sticking, Xavier said. You think I'd leave you in charge if it wasn't? Derek raised an eyebrow. You'll be overseeing delivery operations across all stores next month, Xavier said. You'll train the next 3 regional leads. We're building this around people who show up for others. Derek looked down at his keys. I was just trying to do the job. You did more than that, Xavier said. You reminded me what the job actually is. They didn't shake hands, didn't exchange anything else. Xavier got in his car. Derek turned back toward the building. The lights inside were off now, but they'd be on again tomorrow. And this time, they'd stay that way for the right reasons.